All right, excellent. Hello, hello. We move things over. Yep, we're set there. Good, good. Yeah, welcome everybody. Uh, Today is Friday, and I am a little more free today. And I said on Tuesday, and since I didn't run Cube then, we're gonna run Cube later. So today is that day. We're gonna run Cube later. Hey, Ron, thank you for the big sub, the trio sub. I appreciate it a lot. Um, yeah. Yeah, happy Free Cube. This is something y'all, I don't know. So obviously you can see right here, there's literally like a free cube draft for everybody who has an account, as long as your account was made before, um, uh, like the cube draft started. Basically, you can see like, hey, free cube, ancestral, lotus, time walk. So, but yeah, oh, what do we got here? Sure, sure. These are legally cards. You're crazy about. Thank you very much. For the sub as well. Yeah. So free cube. So if you have Magic Online and haven't used it in some time, you could just go do a free cube if you'd like. If you do not have Magic Online and want to do a cube, uh, then I'm sorry, you can't do that. But you can still watch a cube. So probably my plan today is to do a pair of cubes. We're gonna do one and then we're gonna do another. So two cube. It is. It has been a while since we've seen the vintage cube. Obviously, the last pair of sets, the new Innistrades, are going to like the way the vintage cube always works is that they overcompensate for the newest sets, with representing them in the card pool. But the newest Innistrades have some pretty reasonable cards to include in the cube anyway. Um, so hopefully, like some of the adversaries would make sense to see. For instance, um, the white and red ones of those. Some of the lower curve, uh, uh, um, some of the better white creatures have been around in here. Uh, and then like some removal in the last while. The go for the throat that is like instead of having a problem with can't kill artifacts or can't kill monocolored, it's just lose 2 life. I think grasp, infernal grasp in here, those sorts of things. There's been a Modern Horizons, which also I think more heavily will influence this. Modern Horizons obviously has a higher power level uh than standard sets do, so has a little bit more influence. Anyway, been going on for a while. I see people getting in here. Hello, hello, everybody. 2 hours left till 2022. Yes, Happy New Year to all those who have already had their New Year begin. Hope you're having a good one. And to those who are having it soon. I decided to do this early today because that way I'm still able to do some New Year's stuff later tonight with some friends. And then I don't know what's up on Saturday. I might also do some streaming on Saturday. We'll see. But anyway, Cube. Vintage Cube Fandom Draft League. That is indeed where we're after. We have a free draft, as I mentioned. Yeah, here it is. Everybody got one of these that had an account. So, use one vintage point. 7,000 people. Holy shit. That's, Team J-Bro's still at top. Incredible. Mystic Confluence. Palace Jailer. Evanston's Pilgrim. Sun Gold Sentinel's a newer one. This has some Graveyard Hate, which is pretty good. This is actually a good card. Like a good enough card. 3 power for 2, Graveyard Hate. Some way to get around creatures. Dark Ritual, obviously. Nature's Claim, very good. Action Rider is one of the better reanimator, is one of the more playable reanimator targets you can go for. A lot of stuff that's fine in here. Mystic Confluence really, like, speaks to me. I love casting me a Mystic Confluence. White has, so, to talk about white in Vintage Cube, it has been about 2.5 years since white has been a trap in Vintage Cube. Mono white aggro has been one of the more consistent archetypes within the Vintage Cube that can perform very, very highly. High Tide, Signet, Remand, Resto Angel. The big thing there is that a lot of decks aren't tuned. Like, a lot of the times, Vintage decks just aren't tuned for a 3-power creature on 2 and, like, a very early start. And White's disruptive tools have just gotten better over the years. Your level of hate bears that actually do something. You know, creatures like Thalia, creatures like Containment Priest, all get much, much, much stronger the further back we go in a format. Really wants me to be in the mono white shenanigans deck. Resto Angel with Mystic Confluence isn't a bad idea either. White to go with the Mystic Confluence isn't bad. Raphaelos is really good here. Signet's probably the other one that stands out. Kind of want to stay on blue, see what happens. All right, we're picking a Signet. 100% here. Damn. So let's grab a Signet. I might want to grab the Azorius one. We're seeing a decent amount of white going around. We got Lightning Bolt. We got Miskelp. Miskelp would also be really good here. Grim Monolith would be fine. The Nighthawk Scavenger is actually really fine. This one's a reasonable card. Blade Splicer plus Resto is obviously good. Corsair Crewfix works really well. I'm going to bet on white. I know he passed up 2 reasonably powerful white cards, but, like, there's still a lot coming through here. And if we can keep seeing things like that, that's great. Caracas Demir Signet. Okay, that is also really interesting to me. I like having these pieces of metal in the cube. I feel like they're really important. Glenolena Archmage is the other really high priority bit here. Time Spiral doesn't seem to be our speed. We passed the High Tide. The Lotus Bloom's right there.
Important valuable thing about both of these signets is that even if you don't end up playing white or black, they're still playable just to generate blue mana.
Yeah, that's the main reason when I saw multiple of them, I was super happy about it. Hey Doc, I'm sitting here thinking about this between this and the Glenelendra. I really like the Glenelendra in the cube is one of the problems. This card's really hard to beat.
It's very hard to interact with Glenelendra Archmage.
I think
the Demir Signet's not coming back, but the Glenelendra Archmage also was not going to come back. So.
Yeah. Faithbound Judge is, as we talked about, there's this bit of representation in the cube that's always here. That is, the newer sets are overrepresented by cards that probably don't deserve to be here. Faith Down Judge is one of those. It's a 4/4 for 3 that has to wait 3 turns to be able to attack. Then it can come back from the grave as an enchantment that says, I win in 3 turns.
That a thing that cannot attack in 3 turns, coated in Swords of Revealing Light.
Yes, indeed.
I see.
We got Golos here. We got Ancient Tomb. We got Bitter Blossom.
Golos or Ancient Tomb are probably the 2 I'm looking at here.
Yeah.
Ancient Tomb, because you ramp in every Vintage Cube deck, actually. Every single Vintage Cube deck can use ramp. So, like...
Containment Priests, Smaller Sculptor, Thieving Skydivers, always very powerful, more powerful than it looks. That actually might be my pick here. One of the things about Thieving Skydiver is that this is a really good, like, body to get going, to have, like, an attacking threat to kind of, like, try to control Planeswalkers a little bit, or just be a threat. But also, the Kicker X, steal an X cost artifact, there's always a target. There's always a target.
Yeah.
100%. Containment Priest, as I talked about, is one of the best. This is one of the best mono white aggression cards because it completely blocks off some very heavy hitter archetypes. Tundra, Monastery Mentor. Tundra.
Monastery Mentor, but Tundra. At the same time, Tundra would be really, really nice. You still haven't picked a single white card.
No. You cannot exactly kicker 0. X can't be 0. But you can kicker 1.
But you can kicker 1 and you can still take 0 cost things.
Yeah.
It specifically has a vintage like clause on it of kicker can't be X. X can't be 0. But that's fine. You can still pay for 3 and you'll be good.
This is also like real here too.
You currently have only 1 artifact though. If you grab the other Signet, Tez, I think, would actually be a really good choice.
Okay, here we actually get a beach.
Also, Mom.
Low on the curve.
I like the beach more, personally, here, but Mom is there.
I think I'm going to grab the beach and assume the white is a little bit more of a splash. Okay, the Jailer coming back makes me feel quite nice. This is actually a really good card if you have a deck that can control the board and make sure that you're not like you're not going to take combat damage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we didn't get the Resto, but we did get Yorion, which could actually be playable.
Yeah, so far, looking like.
Palace Jailer shouldn't wheel. Agreed.
White is historically always the least picked color.
Holy smokes!
On colors, half on color Signet, or Blade Splicer. Blade Splicer is good, but that is also just a dude, right? Like, and then whereas Signet is.
Caver Runes. Olivia, another card from the most recent set. This one is like, okay. I don't know if this is good enough to be around here.
Famine Priest is back. That's nice.
That's a sideboard card I play, and this is a main deck card I actually like. Okay.
Oust.
Oust is fun.
Yeah, the white feels correct. Yeah, the white feels very correct.
Yeah, the only card we didn't get that I would have liked in here with the white is it's an auto pick.
Go ahead and just ignore everything else in this.
Let's see what's coming back around. I'm sad because obviously Mana Vault's good here.
But that's literally Time Walk.
Yeah, this is an auto pick and we don't get a choice. Strip Mine hanging out here. Venser would be a really cool table, but it's the only blue card in the pack, so I assume not. Everflowing Chalice is like a Signet.
The only piece of power you would consider passing up is Time Warp, right? Like,
I've had decks where I don't consider
Time Warp, Time Spiral, whatever it's
Twister.
Called. Time Twister.
There are decks where I've passed up Twister, and there are decks I've picked Twister and it didn't do anything.
Yeah, But every other piece of power, it's like you look at that and all of a sudden you're playing blue or any of the
Yep.
Moxen.
So, yeah, one of the I can take some time to talk about Oust. One of the things I really like about Oust is that if you oust a mana dork, you feel like a hero.
Yeah.
Like if you,
It's like it's like stone raining someone, honestly, but for cheap and free.
yeah, mana leak, solemn, and some other artifacts.
I like
I kind of like more just
Yeah, I like the leak here personally too.
ways to interact. I like this feels like a deck that needs to be able to reach out and affect our opponent in some manner in order to be
Mhm.
like winning. And this is a good way to. It's not counterspell proper, but most of the time it'll get the job done.
Works with Mentor too. Like every counter works with Mentor as making that a viable
Yes.
plan as well. So
Yeah, and that can be a way of like we just get Mentor down and protect it for a turn or two, and that's all it needs. Force of Will.
also Metamorph.
Metamorph, Spell Pierce is actually also like really strong.
Yeah.
So picking Force of Will makes me really want to get one of the things we're missing right now is one of the things we're missing right now is like some sort of card advantage. The Palace Jailer is our only card
Yeah.
draw.
Which is
Metamorph.
actually why I did eye the Skull Clamp earlier and think that Clamp might have
Yeah.
been pretty good, but I
That's,
also wouldn't want to force that at all, kind of thing.
yeah. Also, we got a couple cards that I'm happy to get back around. Avacyn, Hero, Fumigate. I'm gonna grab the Force to have us get a little bit more. Ooh,
Thirst for Discovery.
off.
That right there.
God.
That's a card from a new set that
Oh,
deserves to be in
yeah.
here.
You talk about a card from a new set that should be in here.
Yeah, this thing is going directly into Vintage and Legacy, and it's not leaving.
Yeah. Other cards in here that are
Also
cool.
Modern, I'm assuming.
Other cards in here that are cool. Rainforest. Sword's fine. Be better if we already had the Stone Forge or something for it, but
The Emrakul as well, actually pretty good.
Yes.
Just because it's pretty easy to get that mana in Vintage Cube
Yeah.
combined with the Delirium on it.
Ulbog also very strong.
Yep.
Karmic Guide, Wall of Omens, Emery.
If you were a little bit more artifact heavy, Emery would be great.
Yeah, we don't have a lot right now.
Yeah.
It's just a couple signets. Karmic Guide is not great in the deck right now, but it's probably a fine pick. I've never felt good casting a Wall of Omens in Vintage Cube.
Yeah.
Like that's for that to be like good, you have to have like for one.
What if it was Wall of Denial, but it still had the Wall of Omens kicker of the draw card on it?
Oh God.
0/8 hexproof flyer, you know?
Pester Might, Nahiri, Parallax Wave, Spectral Procession, couple dual lands that don't do much. Good green here, finally. This is like I was wondering if like white or green was gonna be the color, and white had shown up like way earlier. It finally mid pack 2 is like the first good green cards. So that tells me there's a lot of like green that's being played at the table.
If you were picking green, it's that Nissa, right? Like,
oh yeah.
That Nissa's a motherfucker.
Ooh, here we are. And Adversary, which anthems your team for each kicker you do it on. Its kicker is 1 white. We also have just a creature land, which really nice to have, and Shark Typhoon, which is like a late game cycling threat. So all of these are really good. Splinter Twin's a joke. We're not picking that one. And here's a really bad Monastery Mentor. Or the adversary? Oh, wow, okay, now we have some, like, more disruptive elements.
Ooh, okay.
Elite Spellbinder, Thalia. Spellbinder's really good. I love this card.
I kind of like Spellbinder over the Thalia because
Thalia
you
feels a
have
little bit
pretty
like
good-
it locks out too much of my stuff.
Exactly, that's what I mean. It kind of hurts you about as much as it would hurt your opponent.
Yeah. Selfless Spirit on the walkback, Hangerback Walker on the walkback. Not much else. We're looking to get a little bit more aggressive here than the deck was previously.
Not really getting enough interaction to make it particularly slow.
Right. Which is fine. That we have like
You're able to support a more aggressive deck is the thing too, so it's not that bad.
Revoker versus Adeline. Adeline's pretty cool. One of the things, so this is literally just Brimaz by another like the different text, basically. Tapped and attacking when you attack, but it gets to a trigger on attack rather than on it the creature attacking. So like you can play that and then attack and immediately get in there. Metamorph Hero Bladehold Avison. The more we've built,
3 good cards.
The more we've built, it seems like Hero Bladehold might actually be our speed.
You are currently, you now have a fair number of token generators.
Yeah.
Is the thing, right? So, Sword of Body and Mind came back. Huh, okay. Stacks, which, if you actually are able to reliably generate tokens, stack is actually quite good.
We're just trying to put in these here. Parallax Wave is also is a real thing for like a sideboard. This just says creatures don't exist for like 3 turns. Anyway.
And there's Mox.
There's that Stone Forge. I don't feel like we need to pick it. That is an off-color Mox, but we have...
an off-color Mox is still a colorless mana for free.
Yep. Path to Exile is another card I really want in here. We're going to be kind of sad we don't have that, but like, because we only really have Oust. Finks is like the 5th most powerful card in this pack for us. I do not care that much about Finks. So to go down the cards I like Mox, then I like Path, then I probably like Cryptic, then I like Seachrome Coast, then I like Stoneforge, and then I like Finks in that order. That order might be shiftable. The Seachrome Coast might be a little bit more relevant because of all these 2s we have. But I feel like this is a deck that is like really, really wanting to jump the curve, and this Mox helps do that even if it's colorless. Yeah, this lets us turn to Hero Bladehold or something like that. It'd be like land, Mox, Signet, and then land. Thraben Inspector, Treachery, Treasure Cruise. So Thraben Inspector is one of the most powerful white cards that's been printed in a decade. Very, very funnily in that manner.
Yeah, it really doesn't seem like it, but it is. It's a white squire for 1 that is card advantage, so that's quite good.
And it breaks up. Treachery is very powerful is more powerful in like Legacy than Vintage, but it's still a really cool.
It's not unreasonable in Vintage Cube for the only creature for them to actually be playing and be like, well, before Hullbreaker, but remember, Hullbreak was actually removed from Vintage Cube, so.
See, I'm sitting here looking at Treachery and Thraben Inspector, and I think it's funny that's even like a choice, but the deck feels like it starts to want to curve right now.
And so I think you might be right. I think this might be Thraben Inspector.
This is probably, like, there's a lot, like, I'm sure there's a heavy argument to not pick that, but that's okay. Aranto Vanguard, Flooded Strand, Council's Judgment, Usher the Fallen. All these are
Council's Judgment is nice for just being the thing that can kill the unkillable. Like, that's what it is and what it does.
Yeah. Flooded Strand is also just, like, fine fixing.
Yep. Control Magic has the same problems as Treachery does in that there's actually not a guarantee that you're going to even have a good target for it.
I don't really care too much about the SoFi here, in the sense that if Body and Mind tabled, like the sword will also table, and like
Yeah.
I'd rather pick it after the Stoneforge than before. I feel like having a piece of removal like this is fine. I think the Flooded Strand's the other pick here I would like. Lyra Dawnbringer, 5-mana Teferi Jace.
Jace might be legit, actually.
Yeah. The thing I like about Council's Judgment is that it sidesteps protection and all that nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, it's Council's Judgment is a card that is capable of killing anything, even things like True Name Nemesis.
yes. Brazen Borrower is really good. Jace seems nice.
Brazen Borrower is okay. Balance, huh?
We have Artifact Mana in a white deck, so
yeah. So balance seems legit. Yeah, like, let's go for it.
There are going to be the games where we're just able to go, like landbox, Signet Balance, and then they discard 4 cards, and they're like, excuse me? We just play it as like double Mind Rot. Seagate Stormcaller is also like fine for like copying that Time Walk down here. Relic Warder is also another good 2.
Balance is still here because if there's any other white players, they'd be to Jens' left because there was a lot of white that was being like left around up till then.
Okay, Gush, which is kind of hard for us. Better Skull, land tanks. That's about it. It's those 3. None of them really super speak out to me.
I kind of like Gush. I don't know if that's like the correct pick, honestly, but it's the one that's speaking to me. Is what I would pick here.
No, land tax is basics. Grab the land tax.
That's fair.
Student Warfare, huh? Sure.
Student.
It might be a little hard in a 2-color deck. We don't know a lot of fixing, but yeah. Oh God. Oh my God. No. If land tax was non-basics, are you kidding me? Oh my God. I'll grab 3 strip mines. Cool. Thanks. Like what? Oh my God.
All you need would be once.
Oh.
Okay. All right. I'm very surprised Swords is back, but there must have been something someone else wanted over it.
It was the worst 5 minutes of his life.
No way they were getting. There's like no way that Path is back. What the fuck? Okay, you have a removal suite now.
Yeah, I think I care more about Path than I do Stoneforge. Sorry.
Yeah.
I like having removal that feels really, really. I'm also sorry I can't pick that Sea for Chrome Coast up.
Oh man.
Again, I don't care about Finks. Finks is the 5th. 4th. 5th. Like Finks is really, really poor in my mind here. You're kidding me. Again, one of the things about Finks really shines in a match where we're doing creature combat and my life total matters. And let me tell you about Vintage Cube and those two things.
Both of those things don't really happen all that much.
Like, unless my opponent's mono red or like a deck similar to me, like.
I like Finks if I was playing Rexer and Vintage Cube somehow. Like the only card that would be like I actually would prioritize it to any degree.
Okay.
All right then. Yeah, sure. So your color combo was extremely correct, I guess, just from the outset. Like,
yeah.
I'm surprised at the blue cards that came back. That blue cards came back frequently.
Yeah, our blue is obviously like fallen to be our secondary color, but it's still very powerful for that.
Yeah, you're
Um,
kind of more of a direct split between the two, I think.
all right, let's put it all up here. Now, we do have the option.
Of playing Yorion with the 60
We
cards.
could build a 60 card deck. The problem with building a 60
I don't
card
think
deck,
you've got the card advantage to pull that off.
the problem that comes up with the 60 card deck, the reason that, so if we wanted to build a 60 card deck, what we would want is redundancy. And we have that in some instances, you know. That's what I call redundancy, right? That's an effect we have three of. These are similar-ish. House is obviously not the same power level, but
Yeah, but these are three
one mana
easy
just
to leave up cards you can do at instant speed and just really stuff your opponent with them.
sourcing on that one. Again,
This
Oust
is a
is
sorcery?
Oust is a
Okay.
lot worse. Again, Oust is like over here compared to
I thought Oust was an on combat one. You could only do it in combat, but fair,
nope.
yeah.
So, if we were building such a deck, it would be like this.
This deck wouldn't be bad. It's just that it would be inconsistent.
You're right. One of the things it would have as a problem is one, a little bit too low on fixing. We only have the deserted beach. I'm still a little worried about that. I know we've passed up passing up the Seachrome Coast the second time felt really hard, but it was Path to Exile.
Yeah.
The
Hey, it's fine. If you absolutely have to, you can just pat the exile token and just grab your own
yeah.
and just grab your own island or something.
So like we could do this. We could do the Yorion 60 special. I just don't think that's a stronger deck than cutting this to 40 and having it be a normal deck.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like just going for a 40 card deck would be stronger. You don't have either enough card advantage or ramp really to pull, because the more cards you include in the deck, the more ramp you actually need to make sure it actually appears.
Correct. You need to be able to see it. First, Skydiver, Confluence, Balance, Hero, Jailer.
Are already at 19 cards, huh?
Yep. I like this thing. This is the fakest mentor in the sense that it's on creature spells rather than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
As long as your deck meets the companion requirements, you can declare it. Might want that Giver runes. Might want that Containment Priest. Oh, probably want the Adversary.
The main mechanical difference between Giver and Mother of Runes is that Giver can't target itself, right?
Yeah. With the upside being that Giver can give out colorless.
Ah, okay.
So it's not. They are different enough that you like. Obviously, Mother's the stronger card because Mother can self protect, but Giver does have an upside on it.
Having both out, that's power. That's your invincible.
Like the Yorion deck, if it gave you any value over being a 4/5 flyer, that's the problem too. Like the only blinkable cards we have in here are like Jailer, Spellbinder, End of List. You know. This is 24 in the main. I'm just seeing if there's anything else I really want. These ones here, by the way, these are auto in the deck. We're just not
Yeah.
putting in lands yet. The sword is questionable. With all the
I
ramp,
think the sword is okay depending on matchup.
problem is we
But
only
I
have
wouldn't.
problem is we only have 11 creatures right now.
Yeah.
We're a lot more disruption than we are. Like we're kind of riding one or two threats to the game is kind of what this looks like. Um, Maybe you'll
Two of
find that.
those threats do generate more threats, but that doesn't like solve the problem that you have to get them out of your deck first.
Yeah. I also probably could use one cut, but not really. Probably just the oust. Let's be real here. The oust can come in against green monodork. Again, so oust is incredible against green monodork because like they go noble hierarch. You oust it to draw a noble hierarch on like turn 3 sucks. Like it's the worst because you want to make you like 3 or 4 drop, but you know, are you stuck just replaying your mana dork? So this looks like the plan. Obviously these 3 are in his lands. Ancient Tomb makes it in, even though there's not a ton for it to do, but like even just like early hero blade hold, early mentors, things like that. Thursday Discovery is gonna rule in this deck. My God. Yeah, both our signets are white. One of our signets is blue. And as far as actual sideboard cards go, like these are the ones I'm looking at for sideboard cards. This pile right here. Like, Containment Priest has obvious times it comes in. You know, our opponent is reanimating or our opponent is trying to,
Yeah.
you know, show and tell. Um, Faithbound Judge, I would bring in if my opponent was mono red, something like that. You know, just as a 4/4 body of fuck off, you know, that sort of thing. Land tax would make sense in a more like long game. Sort of body mind if our opponent has no real answer to that. Hanger back in a longer game. Force of Will comes in against more of a combo deck, so that we have interaction early. All right, let's make it happen. But yeah, mono white though in Vintage Cube has been one of those like decks that has very steadily climbed in power level because of just how many cards like Relic Warder, Elite Spellbinder, you know, is another. We had Thalia we passed by. These cards that are just like super good at coming down on turn 1 or 2 and then be like incredibly disruptive to any opponent.
Yeah. Mono white has the advantage of being the color setup that is most damaging to standard vintage plans.
Yeah, mono red has the like obvious problems of like if I'm playing a deck that's like here's my Ancient Tomb and my all these other bits like I'll be fine if I just fetch into shock and doing all this nonsense. Then you just go Goblin Guide go like like oh haha.
Both signets, Relic Warder, and that's it.
This one's fine. Even better
That's
with
okay, yeah.
on the mulligan with the balance. I'm gonna put the remand down.
Hoping to see any blue out of this, but yeah. Skydiver with the Ancient Tomb out would be pretty good. Hello.
Okay.
Phyrexian Revoker. Choosing clue token.
Sadly. Card name.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I know. I'm goofing.
I know.
There is that one creature who's a clue. You could say that guy, that one mirror.
Well, here's the most important bit. I can see your hand, damn it. Resto Dismember.
If they want to spend the 4 life on the Dismember, that's probably fine, right? So you want to get rid of the Resto?
Yeah, I think Big Resto costs 6, so it's never coming down.
Hmm. They're playing mono white. Like, I guess we're just back on the discussion right there.
Yeah.
Or it feels like mono white may be splashing a bit of black if they want to ever not pay the life on the Dismember.
No, but nobody cares about that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that's the only thing that.
Yeah, I feel confident looking at the board right now.
It's mono white.
Our opponent is mono white because, again, as we said, who cares about life totals, right? Like.
Mm. All right, so they have one card that you don't know about, but that's it. That's 3 damage coming to you every turn. That's you got 5 turns. You don't need to balance yet, especially if you can put the Revoker down to get in the way of the Inspector or something.
Yeah. Okay, 3 cards in hand. Fuck
huh?
me.
That's pretty rough.
Can't wait to steal it when we draw a blue.
Oh boy, drawing that blue though, huh? I really hate the idea of leaving something on the board that can handle GTA when you have nothing to play. You know what I don't hate? You get to choose lands too, right? With balance.
Yeah, the problem is I wanted to play the land there because I want enough to play Thieving Skydiver. Well, maybe that's worse that way. 2 cards in hand for them. We need to draw a blue source. We've got 8 blue sources in the deck. Again, I did say our mana was one of my biggest sticking points. I only have myself.
One of your 3 sig. One. Did you grab actually the Benia Signet? Ah,
that's bad.
That's Resto down, right?
Yes.
Drawing the blue. There you go. Okay. That actually helps quite a lot. That's quite good. Especially if they attack with Resto or something, because then you'd be able to time walk, hit him twice with the GT, and
We're not,
kill Resto if you wanted to.
We're not hitting them with anything. Yeah, like we don't have a creature.
Ah,
Did you know GT is a hell card?
that's right. GT is a hell card, and I didn't remember Skydiver only had 1 toughness.
So we need to draw a creature. Like I basically want to go creature time walk.
Sometimes time walk is just explore, and that's okay.
Holy fuck.
That's a really, really good thing to pick up. All right, that's card advantage. That is an exile, and also yes, there you go.
Yep. Jailers. Yep. And
Nice.
game.
Okay.
Holy shit. So the thing about Jailer,
Resolving.
even if they kill Jailer, they don't get back the Resto. They need to actually steal the Monarchy to get back the Resto. And like until they do, we have 2 cards a turn. We didn't deserve that game. That was
It was a perfect rip, though.
yeah, that was the perfect card. Relic Warder's very good here.
Your opponent seems slightly creature heavy. Not necessarily like extremely from what we saw, but slightly.
Yeah.
It could have just been that both of you just drew a fair amount of lands too.
I think we both just drew heavy lands on there.
Yeah.
Do you think Skydiver's great? They have Moxen, they have a GT. I'm thinking about Containment Priest as an option. Yeah, that's probably too cute. The trick with Containment Priest is that Elite Spellbinder plus Containment Priest is a good joke. Because they try to cast the... Oh no, it doesn't care. Sorry. It doesn't care that it was cast from exile. I'll read the card. I'll read it now to make sure I'm not doing a dumb thing. Oust is possible. Just as like oust there 1 or 2. Yeah, Drawn on Magistrate's the one I'm thinking of that does that. Karmic Guide is also like reasonable as a choice here, but a lot of the removal is like not gonna be going to grave. I'm just gonna roll. Let's get a... Yeah, this looks sweet.
Yeah, this hand rules. Turn 1 Thraben Inspector again.
So the cool thing they get with Thraben Inspector is that if they whiff on the 2-drop, they have a 2-drop. It's called a clue token. I think that's better here because it lets us go Jace plus next turn.
Land into what's up? Let's do 3. Blade Splicer.
That's
Okay.
a good. That's a good 3. Ah, good. Lead in relic order on your golem token, huh?
That seems pretty legit.
Yeah, and then like play Revoker
Jace?
or Jace.
I guess.
It'd basically be Revoker on Jite is what it would be.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with Jace instead. Um, it's a little bit more finicky, like,
And a little bit less safe.
but like with Relic Warder in play, they don't have a free attack.
Yeah, Relic War is a bear, so. It just gets in the way of both their now just a 1/1 and the 1/2.
Yeah. And Jace lets us
Jace.
solve like Flood as a problem.
Mhm.
Also would let us like flashback swords, things like that. 4, tapping out 4. Elspeth.
Elspeth, nice Knight Errant, huh?
That's a good one.
That's a good thing to revoke.
Yeah, we just revoke Elspeth.
That Elspeth is very good. It is still, however, not one I immediately fear when I see it.
I always have a respect for that card.
Yeah, it's still good. Like, it's never a bad. It's appropriately costed, is the thing, you know? It's powerful but fair, as opposed to what can feel like some of the other Elspeths of like, oh, your plus creates 3 guys? Ugh. You thinking just playing the adversary instead is like getting in the way? It is +2/+2. It's a lot.
Yep.
Five three with lifelink. It's even got a like pretty good on its face. Just total there.
Yeah. Even makes Jace like a real body.
Turns Jace into an ox.
Swords or path on adversary. Kithian. Alright. There's the. I was wondering when they were what the move that was getting rid of the adversary was. Okay. So we've got Revoker. I can play all these. Elspeth, the Knight Errant. Then we can crack the clue before we loot with Jace. Okay. Jace gives us a longevity here that our opponent doesn't have,
Yeah.
which is nice. Say they try to like get Kithian in. The swords answers that. What is this?
Oh, they're paying 5 for Solitude.
Okay.
Incarnation?
This is swords to plowshares on a.
I see. But they played it as a guy.
Well, yeah, because it's incredible. As a guy, it's blinkable.
Yeah.
Um,
They're doing probably the Revoker, I'm going to assume, because they want to be able to activate Elspeth this turn, or is it going to be the Jace?
I can Jace activate in response. If we draw into Mana Leak, we're okay, but I have to discard the swords. That would still be fine, I think. I can't pop the clue first, though. I'll also just let this happen. Okay, get rid of Revoker. Okay, so
Would you swords now? Because it would, okay.
No, because they have to attack with 2 other creatures to flip Kithian.
Hmm.
And those creatures have to be sacrifices. So I'm willing to give them the extra 3 life here. If I can get some bodies in combat, you know?
Yeah, fair.
If not, I will just, if they attack alone with it, I will swords it anyway. Okay. So yeah, so we give them 3 life, but we get a pair of bodies off them. This seems like a very fair trade.
That's perfectly good, yeah. Jailer.
That's incredible here.
They will be able to steal the monarchy back though, because they're gonna just gonna be able to jump something again.
Unless they don't control creatures.
Have you a way to get rid of both of them?
Yeah, combat. Huh! I'm just going to attack with Relic Warder on Elspeth and see what they do.
Okay.
Because we do need to attack Elspeth. And now they don't control creatures.
Fair enough. Mystic Confluence also fantastic refill among other things.
Mm-hmm.
Can continue to force opponent to not have creatures, that's kind of thing.
Goodbye.
And here's our monarchy. Thirst for discovery. Huh?
You love to see it. So the reason I'm being a little like I want to keep pushing on Elspeth is that Elspeth's on ult mana now.
Oof. Hero Bladehold, though.
I get rid of the thirst.
Hero Bladehold will kill your opponent very quickly once it gets down.
So you want to know a cool thing here?
What did that be? Is this, you could just discard Mystic Confluence or something and then flashback it? Or flashback swords?
And then I'll just leave up Mystic Confluence. I'm the Monarch. Palace Jailer, everybody.
This card's fucked up, and I didn't know that.
No,
I am now aware of it.
I'm glad you got to learn a new thing. Thanks. Elspeth ain't conquering shit. All three modes?
All three mode sounds pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, Palace Jailer is a playable card in Legacy.
Okay, fair enough.
Like, tabling was unreal.
All right, so this is another game about Palace Jailer.
Yeah, so, but yeah, no, Palace Jailer, one of the first Monarch cards, and basically defined Monarchy as, like, the mono-white card draw, like, effect. It worked in black as well, in Pauper. There was, like, a Death Assassin that was, like, a 1/3 Death Touch that people played in things, but, like, really, this card, like, legit dumb. Because, again, even if this card dies, it doesn't come back on death. It comes back on loss of the monarchy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very different... Like, when I kill an O-Ring, I get my thing back. When I kill this, cool. Solitude's still stuck in jail for no goddamn reason. It rules. So...
Unfortunately, the jail still exists.
Yes, you gotta go get him out. So...
Oh, this is dope. This hand rips.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm in.
This is turn 3 Hero Blade Hold.
If we draw a white source.
White, right, yeah.
But we can accelerate that process, so... I would love to have a turn 3 hero. Fuck me. Oof. Well, I'm revoking that. I'm just gonna revoke Soul Ring.
Uh-oh. Okay, they tapped it for no reason. Good to know.
Okay.
If you play Tomb, then use Tomb to do it. Then there's still the chance of turn 3 hero if you just draw the white. But
yeah, but then like is too light.
They played a mountain,
right?
That's the other thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm willing to do this because of the possibility, and no other reason.
It is extremely a concern that they played a mountain. I get it. See the color red across the table, and then you realize this ancient tomb might have killed you, even if you just tapped it once. However, it looks like you might have very solidly thrown off their what do you call it? Their curve.
Yeah, looks like it.
Unless they're just planning on casting things in the middle of combat here.
Burn spell on. Yeah, burn spell on. That's fine.
If they play something heavy here, you might just be able to treachery it instead.
Yes.
So.
That's why I'm not too concerned. Glorybringer or some such. That one's a very hard one to steal.
That's, yeah.
Okay.
Relic Warder. That's pretty good.
No, we need double white still.
Oh, it's still good. You just need to be able to cast it.
Okay.
There it is. You got the double white.
I think it's still probably hero here. Let's not pay life.
Hero. If they decide to spend both of the Thopter tokens, that hero's also just dead, right?
Yes, but then we've spent all their Thopter tokens on it.
Yeah.
And then it's safe to steal their soul ring. Worst case is like glory bringer kill hero, right?
Well,
I've played Magic once or twice.
so this is
Whoa.
They didn't exert. They did not exert. Okay. You're good, actually.
Whoa.
They overlooked the exert thing there.
Whoa.
All right. You've got a treachery target.
I'll take the bolt to like trade here.
So this was, if they had exerted, it would have been 8 damage from the Glorybringer, 4 damage from those. They would have been able to sack both of those like on your next turn, and you would have been extremely close to dead already.
Anyway, half your life total. Can you kill me? I don't think you can because I don't think you have bolts. If they had bolts, they would have spent them on Hero Blade Hold.
Yeah, probably.
That's why I feel
4 cards left in hand. They would have to have 4 separate bolt value cards. And wait, Zealous Conscripts taking back their Glorybringer for a turn and then swinging in. All right, so this time, will they remember to exert it? They did. Interesting.
Huh?
That's interesting. That's a cool interaction that I wasn't thinking of.
Cool trick. Exert. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
I mean, that seems pretty dead to me.
Pull up your blocker. Is that how it works? MTGO is not incorrect because it says your untap step.
Yeah, because it's still owned by the opponent.
And exerted
on top
creature.
Of that, it was exert on their turn.
Yeah.
So
the operative word here is the 4th to last one. It won't untap here on theirs, but on mine there's no restriction. So anyway,
exert's weird.
Okay, that was a gift. They should have killed us anyway when they first played the Glorybringer. Like we shouldn't have been in that game. So,
that was an interesting subversion of your normal technique of using it to kill yourself and not your.
I can't use my ability to save my life, but I can use it. Okay, 2 uses. I can use it to die or for comedy. And this one falls into the latter category, so it's okay. I think I'm just going to bring in a giant flying asshole. Parallax Wave might be fine. I wish we had an actual Wrath. Skydiver's obviously still good. It is against everybody in every format forever. Palace Jailer, by the way, Monarchy can only be stolen on combat damage. So, you know. What do I not want in this matchup? This is tough. Now, when there's like 9 white sources in the deck, that's not using the ability. That's just a planes showing up. I'm really unsure what I want to board out here. Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, right? I don't know. I'm sitting here looking and like I'm going through in my mind, what do I want to cut? The answer is fucking, I don't know.
This is a 2-lander, but actually a pretty decent 2-lander, especially with the remand.
Yeah, the remand.
Toss off their tempo.
Okay. I want to draw a white source right now.
Because then you can do the deserted beach without doing the
Okay. We're gonna do the beach here anyway, so that I have white on 2 if we like absolutely positively needed it. Cool card. Probably not like actually worth being in this cube, but cool card. What's this thing called?
Voltaic Visionary, I believe.
Voltaic Visionary.
Visionary.
Cool.
Yep. Now, I'm assuming that this is just going to be Revoker gets blasted immediately and then they get swung in, but that's okay.
I want to see, the thing is, I'm trying to burn their removal, so Mentor's safe. That's the entire point here. I don't like that.
Oof.
Okay, so bolt my face.
And now this is a 4-3.
Yeah, 4/3 can't block.
Yeah, I like the Spellbinder. Look at your opponent's hand. And Sulfuric Vortex, Hazaret, Firebolt, Incinerate. All right. They've got a suite right now.
This is very awkward.
That's a pretty good hand, is what they've
Yeah,
got.
that's the problem here, huh? We're looking at like good cards. I'm thinking Vortex. Hazaret's answerable by Path if need be. Obviously, Spellbinder's dead, and then they're attacking in for 4, but they can't do anything else but that.
So making Vortex cost 5 seems like a pretty good idea. It's going to really want to dissuade them from playing it in the first place, kind of thing.
Yep.
It's just going to cost so much. They're going to have to basically rush out their hand before they want to play that now. As it is right now, though, I will throw this out here. They're not really killing you yet. They're close.
The 4/3 in play is a giant problem.
Yes.
Also, the wasteland in play is a giant problem. Damn it, I did not want them to draw a land here. A land here means they're liable to use the wasteland. And I did not want to get wastelanded there.
Can you play in U-Signet here?
Yes, but only for one card.
Whereas you could leave both Path and Remand if you just played a land and left the Signet in your hand.
Yeah. The question is, are they going to draw the land? That's the worst part here, right? I'm going to go develop our mana and hope they don't draw the land. I think I have to. Fuck. I think I needed to take the bet was the problem. All right. So their final card in hand is Unknown Incinerate. They have a Vortex they can play for 5.
So the final card in hand was that land, I think. So this is the Incinerate and the Vortex.
I'm just going to block with a Monk token. If I block with both, they go for the Incinerate.
They will just play it again, but this basically cycles Remand.
And it gets a token.
And keeps a token, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we just kill their Berserker.
You need to keep them off from killing you. And this is a pretty good way to do it.
Yep.
Plus, the Inspector is going to be able to crack that clue.
Do we have more answers to Vortex? We have like Leonin. We have a couple, but they're not good. Is the problem? But like, if I don't,
Relic Warder is your.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, if their only play after this, which they probably shouldn't be their only play after this, is the Vortex. you might be able to stabilize and just take him out anyway.
I'm worried about it.
Okay, they just played the land. They're doing the vortex.
Yep. I'm aware of our life total, but like, I don't think we win the game if I like try to wait on that. That's a dead card.
Balance doesn't hit enchantments, right? So
No. Okay.
most powerful right now, just for being a haste creature.
Okay.
Ah,
It did not.
rough.
It did not matter our line because drawing 3 dead cards was. There was no victory on that if we were just drawing 3 dead cards. From there, we just would have been killed by, you know, the inevitable progress of time.
Guess you technically have one more turn. Technically. Oh no, never mind.
Can you randomly gain life? Not against Vortex. Can in my deck? Also no. Our deck doesn't have life gain in it. Again, this is the matchup where the Finks would have been. Is the one matchup where like Finks is real. You know. Oh boy. Not certain how much I like Remand if it's just buying us a turn we're not doing anything with.
Yeah, you might be better off with. Oh,
Wave over that, maybe.
yeah, I think so.
We do have life. Sorry. There's our
Yeah, you
only.
get one life linker.
Yeah, that's our random life link.
Ugh. I can technically play the Revoker, but yeah, okay. Confluence and Plains down.
Yeah. This hand sucks.
Still not great.
I can't cast this Confluence ever, though. If I keep the Confluence, I have to keep 2 basics. Tragedy. I don't think there's anything that looks like a better 4 is the problem. Sucks because those 2 mulligans had nothing to do with the fixing problem either. They were just 1-landers. Okay. Signet's nice. That means there's a lot of 4s that we can draw that are like super on. Hey, Shrine.
Shrine of Burning Rage. Yep. Their deck is a red cube deck for sure. Extremely rip this this mentor, but
this is the worst.
You don't have
mentor.
alternatives, so
right. Like I play this here, and it's gonna die to every shock in the world.
But at the same time, what do you do if you don't play it? Right?
Nothing.
Gonna be that same shock that they keep on playing, right? No, all right, it's Firebolt.
The worst part about this is that if I actually like path it, it would get the +1/+1 and live, but there's no point in pathing it. 5 mana is the top end of our deck anyway.
Oh, use that to force them to discard 3 cards.
4 cards?
4 cards? That's actually super good against the red deck, right? Like, there you go.
Hey, ditch your hand. They're big red too, so this is gonna, this is
they're
gonna
not
murder
playing
their
small
ass.
red.
We get to keep our 5 lands, which is the amount we need. Or I guess 4 lands. We don't have the 5th.
Love playing a white Mind Twist.
Yeah, I'll play Mind Twist for white one.
Glorybringer Vortex. Great. Oh yes. Oh, right. That's so good.
Anyway, the mulligan has now been made up.
Thank you, Balance, for being a fucked up card.
So now we can draw, like, you know,
Jailer's creature, but it does give you the monarchy, is the thing. If they wanted to crack the shrine on it to kill it immediately, that's also okay, because it means that the shrine's not killing you. If they kept Hazoret, that's completely fine. We've got the path for Hazoret.
Yeah, I don't care about that. Sure.
That's definitely not what they kept. That's something that they just drew. I think they kept a 4 mana. So Hazoret actually is a pretty
Hazoret
decent
would be a
guess.
Yeah. Hazoret would be a reasonable pick there.
If they have Underworld Breach, good luck. They're not going to be able to cast anything out of their grave. They get 1 shock. That's it. Hello.
That draws 2 cards a turn with the monarchy, by the way.
Okay, yeah, here we go.
Here's Hazoret. I think we have the game.
I think so. Yeah, I feel like you've got them locked down at this point.
Oh!
You want that sword? You want that sword?
Yeah, or do I want the shrine?
Oh, shit. The shrine's just a sack, right? It's a tap sack.
Yeah, it's 3 sack.
3 sack. Okay. I think you want the shrine then. Yeah. That seems like a pretty good move. Man, that's extremely, extremely rude. That whips. And you'll be able to time walk anyway? Ah. Oh.
Give me that. This is how we win. It's called Palace Jailer, everybody.
This time it didn't even do the exile thing. It just gave you the monarchy and that was it.
Yeah, it just gave me the monarchy and that was all it needed to do. Anyway, the shrine counts up. Oh, sweet. Swords is my final card.
Hey, for what it's worth, one of those 5 cards was fucking Balance. It doesn't count.
I
Balance
know, I
is a
know.
monstrously powerful card.
Here's them trying to steal the monarchy. No, thank you. Yeah, we played Balance and Time Walk, which, as everybody knows, are extremely balanced cards for winners.
And then you can also just get rid of the SoFi as well.
Yep. Also, the shrine is counting up. Well. I'm not playing the Revoker because we don't have the mana.
It doesn't speed up your clock either anyway.
Yeah. The big thing is I
They're
want to
dead
leave.
next turn.
I want to leave up the shrine in case they play hasty creature, like a Glorybringer.
Hmm.
And then I
Well,
can
the
just,
Glorybringer, that's already dead.
yeah. Well, I like a Glorybringer.
Yeah.
And this is fine. That's irrelevant. They get their sword back.
They slam down a Hell Rider or something.
Yeah, I want to be able to leave this online to shoot them, or to shoot like whatever creature they play, because we can just win by card advantage. It doesn't matter that we have. I can just not use this on their face. It's fine. Anyway, they also die on our upkeep because
Yeah. Just lock them down by playing a single card. That's all you got to do.
During the draft, there were a couple people. There were a couple mentions early that our deck didn't do anything unfair, and then we picked up the Balance, and I saw it. I think it was like Noperq said, finally, your deck does something unfair," and Mind Rot.
Sure does.
Yep. Balance. I can't. I also again, I went to bat for this card like super heavily in the
Yes.
in the picks. This shit's why, like it will never not have a target, never.
Everyone's playing artifacts in Vintage. Everyone,
including like even if it was just steal SoFi, that'd be great. But they have so
yeah. If you'd stolen SoFi, it would have had pretty much the same result.
Right. The problem is that I don't want to leave them with the ability to have the hammer to fall on our head.
Yes.
Again, I think that's number 3 in the monarchy slot for our wins. Like, Balance
Yes.
and Time Walk are busted, but the monarchy's also busted. Like, we didn't even remove a creature.
You've only won one game so far out of all the games you won. That didn't involve playing Palace Jailer.
Yeah. By the way, this hand's nice.
His hand is pretty fucked up. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
His hand is really good because it has the Inspector to smooth out the 2.
Yep.
It has Jailer and Balance in it.
Yep.
Leak as well. Time Walk too. I mean, that's a pretty good card, I guess.
I would probably. This is a hand where I would play Time Walk as an
explorer.
Yeah, as an explorer. Thraben Inspector is really nice as a early drop too because it's hard to justify a shotgun.
Abbot of Carroll Keep.
This one's pretty cool. They're not getting anything out of it obviously because the remove is there, but so we're gonna go ahead and Time Walk. The hope is obviously to draw land.
You've got 2 chances, so it's not that big of a deal.
And if we don't, we're still okay with like a lot of interactive bits. There's the land. I like
Spellbinder will let you look at your opponent's hand.
Yeah, I like leaving this just sort of, Mana Leak plus,
Also fair, yeah.
Thirst plus.
Got 3 different good plays if
Yeah.
you just leave this as is.
Okay, so the trick with red, Idric, is that red is the spoiler. Has always been like the really, really strong spoiler to the like vintage cube 3-color artifact nonsense that's going like, I'm making card motions, abracadabra, you're dead. Because like, how on earth are you going to like play Bolus's Citadel when your life total's 5?
Yeah.
Right?
A lot of the things that make cards really good and strong in Vintage is being able to pay life for them instead of mana. And if you're playing against the red deck, then you're just doing their work for you.
Fuck
Hello, Rabble Master.
Fuck that.
No, thank you.
These are things Monolink were made for.
This lets you crack Clue and leave a Path to Exile.
Yeah, or
that's pretty good too.
Or Thirst. Or I can just Spellbinder here too. That might not be bad with that 3-card hand. I'll go investigate what's up. I want to learn.
Bolt, Chain Lightning, Fire Blast. All right, you're looking at the they just got the mana suite. Fire Blast wouldn't do anything, so wait, no, if you choose Fire Blast, they can't do the alternate cost because it's an exile, right?
They can.
Okay, never mind.
Actually, hold on. You may play it, and then if you are able to play it, you may sacrifice
and
this
rather
rather
than
than
just do those too. Yeah, okay.
I'm just gonna go with Lightning Bolt, make it more expensive so they can't like mid combat here.
Yeah. Make Lightning Bolt a fair card.
Yeah.
Actually, like at 3, it might be a little bit too expensive for it to be, but still good.
Inspector gets in because it can't block the Abbot. That was a land off the top.
I'm targeting the Spellbinder with that.
I want to draw a land right now so I can just Palace Jailer their only, card.
Will this also be an immediate concede to Palace Jailer?
Anyway, here's Palace Jailer. You're doing its normal bullshit.
With path backup for this too, this is pretty safe.
I'm so... Oh, shit.
Wait. Oh, okay. Nope, they just put that into permanent arrest, didn't they?
No, because we're still the Monarch. Like, it doesn't, again, here's the thing. Every other card, you think like, this is an O-ring. If this is dead, I get to keep it, right? No, you need the Monarchy.
I was thinking that there's also the occasional ways to
weirdly enough not on that card.
And, yeah,
because it doesn't say. I'm leaving the blocker so that in case they play like a goblin guy. I wanted to trump it.
Lavamancer and Ferocidon.
Sure.
That was a good treasure cruise you just played there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Proper Lance.
Whatever. We still have our draw going on forever.
Mm. Ferocidon's coming down next turn. That's fine. They can't do combat damage if the Inspector is down. Want to remand that first? Yeah. Easy.
Yeah, try again later.
Wow. Give us another one. Give us another one. Yeah. This whips. I love it.
All right, more land. Ooh.
That was five lands in a row. Guess we should have mana weaved better.
Clearly. It's fine, we're gonna draw more. I'm playing defensive at the moment until we draw like one of our like real threats, you know?
That's good. Keeps Mentor alive. You want to take the Frosted on for yourself now,
yeah,
I guess?
like to see that. Wow, I really thought they were going to have like a 5 to throw down at us. That would be like realistic. But no. Their hand is currently, okay.
Lightning Strike. Okay, this time they're getting rid of the Mentor.
They still just have the Fire Blast, so we have to be aware of that.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way to deal with the Fire Blast, though.
Yeah. Anyway.
Good luck, opponent, when Glenalonge Archmage is on the table. You didn't even have to show it to them. Good. Now that's still a secret.
This is okay. Another tick in the column for Palace Jailer. This just like, I love this dude because he just looks like.
That's just a Jeff right there. For
yeah,
sure. That is a
most Jeff dude. Like, he has like a little tiny knife. Is that what that is in the right hand, or like is that the key?
I think that might be like a cudgel. He's like a a jailer.
Yeah, he's a jailer. I was thinking it might be like the key, like one of those big old keys. But anyway, mono red. This is smaller mono red. I don't like remand in that.
It was nice in this particular instance, but there would have been better cards.
So our opponent seems much more burn heavy than the last one.
Yeah, the last one was had Hazard and Glorybringer in there for the big red, like big busters. Whereas this one so far, they're playing Fire Blast, so like they're going to they're on the entrance of reaching over the table and punching you in the face with their cards.
Now see, Gaminot's fine because we drew the 3 lands off the Thirst. And then we had the Monarchy to draw 2 more, but who cares? When we have the Monarchy and that much card draw, I'll draw 10 lands. I don't give a shit. Like, we're winning. Like, I cut the Ancient Tomb.
It's just funny to draw 5 lands in a row and for it to not matter at all. This has Path and Relic Warder, which aren't bad as starting cards, but it's a lot of land otherwise.
Relic Warder's a little weak in this matchup.
Well, no, they're playing Vortex, if I remember right. Like, didn't they show they had Vortex at some point?
But when I say weak, I mean they have like 20 shocks.
All right, fair.
That's the reason I say weak. Okay. This Piker has first strike. I'm just playing this out as like because we have the hero right now. What I want is the game to last to turn 5.
Yeah.
So obviously we're just going to kind of play out bodies as bodies and wait.
And there's the Ferocidon.
Grim. I think that's the only card I remember we can name.
It's the only card that they had that had an activated ability that we saw, so.
Yeah. We take a damage. That's how this works.
You want to double block that?
That eats a shock, and then we lose both our creatures.
Yeah, fair.
Whereas the 2-power is currently holding back the Den of the Bugbear activation.
Tundra.
That seems worthless, unless they've got a play.
That might just be yeah. Or
Because I can attack that Chandra pretty... Okay, sure. There's the bolt. Well, no, that's not... That's sorcery bolt, obviously. Alright. Thing that's kind of annoying here is that, like, they can -3 Chandra to just kill the hero, but it's the entirety of their Chandra.
Mhm.
And then I think the treachery, we kind of have to ride. We need them to play like a pretty...
like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We take...
I have a... They're not going to be able to deal with their own Thundermaw, right? Like,
I don't think so, no.
at 5 toughness, that means that it's outside of Fire Blast range. They can't block it. It's a flyer. You're going to be able to look at what their hand is here in a second as well.
2 cards left. Lightning, Strike, and Seasoned Pyromancer. I think we need Pyromancer cost their hand.
That's fine. Makes sense.
Because it is a draw a bunch. I think the Lightning Strike... We should be fine. It's the reason I'm not attacking. I'm also holding the Signet as like a bluff here. Again, our deck is all like 5 at top, so I don't see a problem with this. We are going to take this damage. That's not a problem. Well, it is a problem, but...
But you don't have an alternative.
No.
Otherwise, you just lose both of your things here.
Correct. If they drew another bolt, we're dead, but... Like, blocking would also end up in a very similar position where they'd, like, shoot one for strike the other.
On their upkeep, huh?
Oh,
Oh, good draw. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ah!
Yeah, okay.
All right.
They just
Okay. Yeah, all right. Cool. Nah, that's fine. Yep. All right. Nope. Yep. That's good. That's fine.
That was their last chance. If they did not have both of those that turn, I think they would have lost.
I think we turned the corner right there. Cut out Relic Warder. I don't think the card's very good in this match. Because they have too many shocks. All right. Urian would be a 2-bolt minimum, sure. I don't think I want to force the will to counter a bolt. Yeah, okay. Again, the saddest of what we do with Time Walk here, obviously, but, you know.
Agavan.
Fuck you. I hate Ragavan so much.
Yeah, that's a lot of
That sucks. It's very bad to have to do this.
stuff on a 1-mana card. Damn.
It's a 2/1, no drawback, with dash, that when it hits you makes a treasure, and then steals the top card of your opponent's library for casting. It's so dumb. Alright, so we get Spellbinder. This I'm very happy about Spellbinder to disrupt like whatever their actual, like, you know, if they have a Rabble Master or like a real 3.
And they kind of don't. They actually have they had the very they were really hoping on the Ragavan, I guess, to
Yeah.
like they can get to and play cards, obviously, but it's like none of these are huge busters.
Yeah, I can put Chandra just in the hole.
Yeah, so they never want to play that 6-mana Chandra at that point.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
I think I'm okay with Chandra just going in the hole for now. Swift Spear. Swift Spear would be a pretty fine one too for the light up the stage. I'm just blocking is the trick. I'm willing to make that trade. And then they're going to play their 2, and then we kill their 2, and now they don't have any creatures left. Right? Like.
Mm-hmm.
So now we'll take Visionary, Mountain, Swift Spear are all dealt with.
Light up the stage, Abrade, and Chandra, and that's it. And also one.
So they have to light up for their full turn.
Hmm?
Vortex Den.
Okay.
We need a land.
So they have to play Vortex next turn, or they don't get it.
Yes.
Crack the clue token in the interest of maybe getting a land and playing it right now.
Yeah, I think we need the mana. Okay. I don't hate that. It's just a 2-drop. Okay.
All right, so they've got the Abrade. They're probably not spending that.
Yeah, we're going to clock them under it, is the plan. Swords of Plowshare is very good here.
Yep, they don't get any benefit out of it with Vortex out. Okay.
They might want to go.
We've seen all of their cards now.
So I feel like their plan here is activate the land. Try to kill me that way.
What does Den do? Okay, there's that too.
That's annoying.
Okay, I see. Den of the Bugbear is a man land that makes more creatures.
Correct.
Got it.
You're being a little forward on it. We got things covered over here. God, if we can get to Mystic Confluence, this game's over, right? You just need a threat. Pete and Kieran's a bit of an annoyance. I don't think we can spend the sword on it, though. Let's hold it. Ouch. No, what the fuck? Yo, Mentor. Okay. Yo, if I can get the 4th land is the key bit here, right? Like. Awkward. Lifelink on this card doesn't matter. Vortex prevents life gain. That's the reason that Swords has no drawback here. I'm a little worried just at how. Oh God, yeah, I'm a little worried.
Okay.
We're starting to bleed pretty heavily. I'm like,
the pressure that Vortex provides is quite real.
yeah. And we don't have forward pressure on our opponent. Sulfuric Vortex, how so good. Why did they make Sulfuric Vortex 2? I think they've tried like 5 times to make Sulfuric Vortex 2.
But the problem is that Sulfuric Vortex is just so good.
Activation on Pia and Kieran is 3. They can't currently double activate it. Okay, now they can.
All right, they're only swinging in with these. Do you Swords the PN Kieran now to force them to double activate?
So his confluence is just not going to be enough here. As good as the card is. We don't have any pressure to put them under. Unknown final card. They have a Chandra they can do. If they spend their whole turn on it. Costs 6. Fuck. All right. That's that, huh? Yeah. Damn, that one basically got away from us not being able to find, like, get to, like, Archmage Mystic Confluence quick enough.
Yeah, this time you didn't draw enough lands.
Yeah, and, like, it also sucked that, like, like, pulling the trigger on the path on, their, having to hit their Ragavan that way really hurt. Because it put them on 3 as it put us on 3. Anyway, that 2 1s, and that's fine by me. But like you can see where like we have a lot of like without being able to leverage those cards. Like if I can get Archmage in play, I basically think we have things solved. But anyway, I'll take. Everybody loves mono red in this cube. I guess we'll have to keep that in mind on draft 2, huh? Maybe I need a side. Like, I didn't get anything sideboard for mono red. I might have to, like, grab. There was like a Lyra Dawnbringer. Maybe that's something like that. Anyway, this was first draft. I'm going to go into draft 2. I'm going to take a quick break, grab myself a drink, and then we'll jump right in on draft 2 here.